In this week's flashback, I want to talk about buck dispersal. 20 years ago, even the most forward-thinking deer hunters and deer managers had this notion that they could somehow stockpile bucks by passing up young bucks, letting them go till next year, with this misguided thinking that somehow next year you'd have those bucks plus whatever bucks entered the herd. In years past, there was also another notion out there that somehow bucks would live their entire lives in the same general area. Today we know this is not true. Myth number one, you can stockpile bucks. No, you can't. Bucks will disperse 2 times during the year, when they're 12 months old or when they're 18 months old. Most are going to disperse when they're 18 months old. This is right before bow season in most states. These bucks are going to disperse 2 miles to 20 miles from where they're born. And 50 to 80% of all these yearling bucks are going to have new homes by the time winter sets in. Along with myth 1 about this idea of stockpiling bucks, you should know that 20% will not disperse by December. However, research has shown that nearly 100% of all bucks are going to disperse by the time they're 2 years old. Another thing that we have to keep in mind here is when we're talking distances. Most bucks, we know, disperse 2 miles to 20 miles. Now, don't think about this like you're moving your stuff in a U-Haul 20 miles down the road and that's where that buck is going to be for the rest of his life. No, we know that's not true. This buck will disperse 2 miles to 20 miles, set up a new home range. However, he might leave that home range and revisit his birth range. That's been proven by research. We know that. But for the most part, when they disperse to a new home range, the majority of that time is going to be spent farther away from where they were born. The second myth is that bucks disperse to prevent inbreeding among the herd. There's nothing in the scientific literature at this point that we can say for sure that this is true. So then why do bucks disperse? There's 2 major factors. One is aggression from female relatives. The buck's mother, the buck's aunts. These does in the herd are very territorial about their home turf, and they will get aggressive towards the yearling buck to the point where he's going to leave and set off to find new range. If the young buck somehow gets over the aggression from the adult females in the herd that he manages to stay within that area where he was born, there's a second whammy here, and that's aggression from older bucks. Older bucks will not stand to have a young buck in the area, especially when breeding comes around. They will harass that little buck, they will chase him, they will fight with him until the point where he's going to get up and leave and try to find an area with less pressure where he can set up a new home range. An interesting thing to note is that a high deer density means higher dispersal rates among bucks. This makes sense when you think about it. A higher deer density means more does on the landscape. More does on the landscape, more pressure on these young bucks, and that means a higher percentage of these young bucks will disperse. We often take the scientific information and try to use it to our advantage. Try to somehow tip the odds in our favor when we're going out and hunting or managing our properties. What recent scientific research has taught us about buck dispersal is number 1, you can't stockpile bucks. Number 2, dispersal behavior is so complex that you really can't manipulate this to your own best interests.